It started like any other day, but by the end of it, Jonathan, a married man, had been beaten up in public over a university girl half his age. Jonathan was known for his extramarital affairs, and his wife, Catherine, had long turned a blind eye as long as he continued to provide for the family. However, the disgrace he brought upon himself this time was beyond what anyone could ignore. The incident occurred outside a student hostel where Jonathan and another married man, Henry, got into a heated argument over a level 300 girl named Melissa. Melissa had been stringing them both along, accepting their gifts, their money, and their attention, while secretly laughing at their desperation. Both men had showered her with gifts, presents for their Valentine's Day. Both had paid for her shopping sprees and covered her bills. They both believed they were the only ones in her life, but that night, when it became clear that she had been playing them against each other, their frustration boiled over. The argument started as a heated exchange of words, escalating into a public spectacle. Two men, blinded by pride and possessiveness, began shouting over who would take her home that evening. The students watching the scene found it amusing. Laughter rang out, and phones were raised to record unfolding drama. Melissa and her friends, including her best friend Olivia, stood to the side, giggling at their foolishness. One of the men, Henry, in a moment of fury, shoved Jonathan hard. The push led to a sudden explosion of rage, and soon the confrontation turned into a full-blown fist fight. Punches were thrown, clothes were ripped, and the spectators shared and recorded every moment of it. When the fight finally ended, Jonathan lay on the ground bleeding, his shirt torn, his pride shattered. Henry stood victorious, panting, his knuckles bruised. The police soon arrived, dispersing the crowd and taking both men into custody. News of the incident spread quickly. The humiliation was immense. Even the officers at the station found it difficult to contain their laughter as the men were asked to write their statements. Henry's wife, Eleanor Dunson, arrived shortly after he secured his release. However, Jonathan was left to spend the night in a cell. Catherine, having been informed of the incident, chose not to pick up his calls. He was forced to sit in silence, reflecting on the chain of events that had led to his disgrace. The next morning, he was finally released. He returned home looking exhausted, defeated, and deeply embarrassed. He swore that he had deleted Melissa's number and promised Catherine that such a thing would never happen again. He assured her that he had learned his lessons, that he was done with chasing after young women who did not care about him. He admitted that the entire situation had been foolish, that he felt ashamed for allowing himself to be caught in such a ridiculous scandal. But words were just words. The damage had been done. Jonathan had spent over 2 million naira to ensure that the videos of the fight were deleted from all social media platforms. The police had assisted in the cleanup, but it was impossible to erase the memory of what had happened. The disgrace would linger. People would remember. As he nursed his swollen lip and treated the cuts from where he had been struck with a rusty piece of metal. The weight of his actions settled heavily upon him. He had fought fiercely for a girl who had never truly cared for him. But had he ever fought like that for his own family? That question lingered in the air, unspoken yet deafening. The world had moved on, but the shame would remain. Days passed, but Jonathan's disgrace was far from forgotten. His colleagues at work whispered behind his back, and the story had even reached his children's school. His eldest daughter, Isabella, came home one evening, her face red with anger. "Dad," she said, her voice trembling, "why did my classmates say they saw a video of you fighting over a young woman? Is it true?" Jonathan couldn't meet his eyes. Catherine folded her arms, watching the exchange in silence. "Isabella," Jonathan started, but she cut him off. "Don't try to explain. Mom told me everything." Tears welled in her eyes as she stormed up to her room. Catherine shook her head and walked away, leaving Jonathan alone in the living room. His shame deepened. At the same time, Melissa continued living her life as if nothing has happened. She flaunted her new designer bags, courtesy of yet another admirer, and laughed whenever someone mentioned the fight. Olivia had warned her that she was playing a dangerous game, but Melissa only shrugged. "They are just men. They will always come back," she said smugly. But things were about to change for Melissa as well. One evening, while she was out with her friends, a well-dressed old man approached her. He introduced himself as Christopher Lawson, a businessman with a fortune to his name. "I have heard about you, Melissa," Christopher said with a charming smile. "You have quite the reputation." Melissa was intrigued. Unlike Jonathan and Henry, Christopher exuded deal wealth and power. Maybe this was her chance to finally secure a luxury lifestyle and future. Meanwhile, Jonathan struggled to repair his shattered reputation. Catherine remained distant, and his colleagues treated him with less respect. The shame of his actions haunted him daily, and deep down, he knew that no amount of money could erase what had happened. His lessons had come too late, and now he had to live with more consequences. Some beautiful moral lessons we learned from the story. 1. Infidelity leads to disgrace. Cheating in a marriage not only causes emotional pain, but can also lead to public humiliations, loss of respect, and long-term consequences. Lust can blind a person's judgment. Jonathan and Henry allowed their desire for a young girl to cloud their sense of reasoning, leading to embarrassment and regret. 3. A woman who plays with men's emotion will eventually face the consequences. Melissa enjoyed the attention and gifts from married men, but such a lifestyle is dangerous and unsustainable. 4. Reputation is hard to repair once destroyed. Jonathan spent a lot of money trying to erase the evidence of his disgrace, but people's memories and opinion could not be bought. Money cannot solve every problem. Even though Jonathan was wealthy, he could not buy back his dignity or fix the damage he caused to his family. You see, true love True love should be fought for, not lost. Jonathan fought for a girl who did not love him, yet he never fought that way to protect his marriage and family. A foolish action can affect your family. His daughter was humiliated because of his actions, showing that a person's mistake can hurt their loved ones. Respect and trust in marriage are priceless. Catherine ignored her husband's cheating as long as he provided for the home, but in the end, the disrespect she endured led to a deep wound in their marriage. Social media can destroy a person's image. The students recorded the fight, spreading the disgrace far and wide, showing the power of the internet in shaping a person's reputation. And finally, wisdom is more important than wealth. Jonathan had money, but he lacked wisdom, and that was the beginning of his downfall. My lovely besties, I thank you all. To my new subscribers, you're welcome. To my returning subscribers, my OGs, I love you all. Kindly like, subscribe, share this beautiful story so that the algorithm of this story can go viral. I love you all. Stay tuned as we bring you more amazing, interesting stories with good moral lessons to back it up. Bye.